Hi everyone, I'm Hallie Nuzum and I'm a rising fifth year in clinical psychology. I've been honored to be a part of such an interesting and unique EL STEM class, and I've learned so much from this process that it was hard to choose just one thing that I've learned to take away from this course for the final presentation. But looking back, I realized that three things, sort of four, came together really nicely for me that I hadn't really put together before. So my research broadly focuses on personality. Coming into this class, I had a pretty solid awareness of my personality profile. I'm highly agreeable, moderately conscientious, and low on extroversion. A small part of my dissertation's literature search is about psychohistory assessment methods. And in this literature, researchers have often studied traits of past leaders like former US presidents because of the vast amounts of documentation available on these people. So I've read about how these successful leaders were often outgoing, charismatic, strong-willed, decisive, traits that I don't naturally possess. I also know that personality traits are quite stable across the lifespan. Research tells us that they tend not to change much. So for a long time, I figured I must not be cut out to be a good leader. However, through various class activities, discussions with my peers, and personal reflections, I've come to see how my personality can help me be an effective leader in my own way. My traits fit nicely with my values of compassion, curiosity, balance, and growth. Perhaps if my values were power or fame, my personality traits would be more problematic. But it seems like knowledge of our personalities and our values can really complement each other if we take the time to reflect on them. This class has further allowed me the time to clarify my values and develop specific goals for my career and personal life that are consistent with them. And we had some really great peer-led workshops and discussions on these topics. Finally, taking what I know about my personality and the clarity I now have about my values and goals, I've been able to use that information to think more specifically about which skills, abilities, and knowledge I already possess and which I want to further develop. These strengths and weaknesses were highlighted through my practicum experience of being lab manager and mentoring undergraduate students in our lab this year. So I realized that skills like patience and listening come pretty naturally to me, while others like speaking and expressing my opinions clearly, providing feedback to others, and recognizing and balancing group versus individual processes are more difficult. Managing others has helped me realize the importance of not only each individual being clear on his or her own personality, values, and skills, but equally important is that the team be clear on how their personalities work best together, what their values and goals are as a group, what skills or knowledge are possessed or needed by the group, and how individuals complement each other to make a whole. This wasn't something that I thought much about, given my focus on personality and individual differences. For example, in working with one undergraduate, I realized that we were both naturally quite passive in this work setting. So I had to work on being more directive in my communication to make sure we clarified our goals and developed skills that were relevant for her. Thus, even though 99% of the time I'm very content and comfortable in my introversion, I can improve my ability to directly communicate my thoughts in order to pursue, in this case, my goal of mentoring an undergrad student. Also, in working with the lab as a whole, I strove to make sure we were able to meet the needs of our undergraduate research assistants, new and advanced graduate students, and advisors all at the same time, by using strengths and knowledge that some possessed to bolster the lack of knowledge or experience of others in order to make us more cohesive and stronger as a whole. These are things that I'll continue to work on throughout my development as a clinical psychologist. In the end, although I rarely saw myself as a leader or even wanted to be one before graduate school, by having the goals of getting my doctorate and pursuing a career that will involve research, mentoring, supervising, and teaching, I necessarily am a leader, and I want to use that position to make a positive impact on my field and community. So this class has helped me prepare for those next steps in my career, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to have participated in this experience. So thank you to my advisor, Leanna Clark, for encouraging me to take this class, and to John and Julie, and most of all my classmates, especially those in my peer mentorship and Crucible groups, for all that you taught me through this process. Thank you.